3, 2, 1. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome to 321 Liftoff. My name is Wayne Belden, and I'm the president of Belden Communications, publisher of the Space Coast Fun Guide and SpaceCoastFunGuide.com. And we'll be bringing you 321 Liftoff every week, talking about tourism in Florida's fabulous Space Coast. With me are your hosts, Pete Lynch, known as Promo Pete, the Director of Business Development for the Space Coast Fun Guide and SpaceCoastFunGuide.com, and Bonnie King, former Deputy Director of the Space Coast Office of Tourism, as well as past President of the Florida Film Commission. Pete, Bonnie, we are thrilled to have you both as co-hosts of 321 Liftoff.
Hey, how's everybody?
Beautiful day.
It's a beautiful day. We are here again on location at the Beachside Hotel and Suites here in Cocoa Beach, and today we're going to talk about air shows, the Thunderbirds, and Bryan Lilley, chairman of the National Air, Sea, and Space Foundation, who is bringing this wonderful air show to the shores of Cocoa Beach on April 17 and 18. 321 Liftoff is brought to you in part by the Beachside Hotel here in Cocoa Beach, the perfect place that you can stay when you're making plans to visit this fabulous Space Coast area. They also are one of the host hotels for the air show. So, and joining me today also is Mr. Promo Pete Lynch.
Hello, Bonnie. Thank you so much. What a beautiful day it is here at the Beachside Hotel and Suites. We love it here always. And what I also love is air shows. And Bryan has been very instrumental in bringing these air shows to the Space Coast for numerous years. Of course, last year with COVID and everything, the show did not happen. But this year, the Thunderbirds will be the featured attraction, and I can't wait to see it. Also joining us today is John Belden, the Vice President of Belden Communications. Hello, sir.
Good morning, Pete. How you doing, my friend?
Excellent.
So, I was very excited. I was happy to hear the air show was coming back and that it was being held this year. My son, he's 5. He is the perfect age for loving all the engine sounds, the loops, the dives, all the tactical things that you see at an air show. It makes it fun and skywriting. But the biggest part of the air show also is patriotism. And to speak about patriotism, my father, we welcome Wayne Belden, the president of Belden Communications.
Well, thank you, John. I'm glad. It's interesting. I remember as a little boy taking you to air shows, and now to hear you talk about you taking your, makes me feel old, but it makes me feel good old.
Tradition continues.
Yeah. As a veteran, I have to say, an air show always highlights the military, and I'm a proud Air Force veteran, and I'm very proud to be a veteran of a branch of the service that has the Thunderbirds. Anyway, air shows like what Bryan is bringing to us in April are designed to link the military and communities in which they're embedded. The Thunderbirds will perform with precision, and it will give you goosebumps, make your heart race, and stop your breath.
Yeah, I read somewhere, too, that watching the Thunderbirds is kind of like an American brand of ceremonial display equal to the changing of guard at Buckingham Palace.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and they give the word precision a whole new meaning. And we have Bryan Lilley here today to talk about patriotism, national pride, and the cheering we all take place for our country's pilots. So welcome, Bryan. Thank you for joining us.
It's good to be here. Thanks, guys, for having me on today.
Well, thank you for putting on the show in our area.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be bringing it back here to the beach, to Cocoa Beach. We did the first one here in 2009, and we did it a few years here at the beach through 2012. So after 9 years, it's really great to bringing it back and to have the Thunderbirds to come and headline. It is just fantastic. So it's actually going to be the kickoff of their 2021 season. And so this will be their first show of the year and our first show of the year. So
it's exciting.
That's awesome.
Very exciting. They get a lot of press, too. Wherever they go anyway, they get a lot of press. So it's going to be great for our area. We're the first on the loop.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, it's always great to come to Cocoa Beach because it's beautiful here. The weather's April. The weather's perfect. We like to rub it into everybody up north. It's a beachy day and it's fun. But to get to come to Cocoa Beach and watch these amazing planes fly over, what a sight.
Yeah, and the thing is that like most people associate an air show with, at an airport, right? Airplanes and airports. I actually had not even known previous to getting into air shows until I think I found out for the first time in 2007 that they flew air shows over the beach. I got invited by the Thunderbirds after they picked up our first show, and they invited me to go with them to Fort Lauderdale, and I was like, wow, this is awesome, right? And so they're really cool over airports, but there is nothing as dramatic as seeing those beautiful red, white, and blue jets over
Absolutely.
the ocean front. It's just remarkable. So the backdrop is
I'd imagine for
second
the
to none.
pilots too. You know, when they get to fly over an area, flying over Cocoa Beach would
Yeah,
be pretty,
what a view.
You know, right? Like, you know, that's a
We'll
pretty
get
good
to
sight
see them
see.
this weekend. They'll be flying out here and practicing because they're flying for the opening of the 500 in Daytona, which is Sunday.
Yeah, you might get to see them a little bit. They're flying some VIP riders and stuff over the Space Center. They use the restricted airspace over the Space Center, but we might see them pop down here. So, at some point over the
Right.
weekend, yeah.
And even right before the April show, that weekend or whatever, when they do some practicing, that I know all the residents love that because they just look up and it's a free show that you see in the sky. So
Yeah.
it's wonderful.
Yeah, in the days prior, you'll see them at some point.
Yeah.
Flying overhead. Yeah.
So you said
getting ready.
VIP riders. So can like people actually like get in these things and go for a ride?
If you're a VIP.
well, I mean, yeah,
We're VIP, aren't we,
Let's say
Pete?
we get there.
Well, yeah, and up at like a Daytona type of thing, they'll probably they typically will fly race drivers and things like that. When they come into a community, though, they actually do a backseat ride. They call it a hometown hero.
Okay.
And so they'll take a hometown hero. So we nominate. We've been working with the base on candidates and things, and then they'll look at the people that we submit or that get submitted, and they'll select somebody and actually take them.
You haven't
for a
done that
flight.
yet? We don't know who that person is?
No, we're still actually kind of getting the list of
Gotcha,
nominees
okay.
So guys,
together.
make sure you
yeah.
get out there and do your good deeds. So
Exactly.
you can qualify for this.
But they've flown, we've flown like a state teacher of the year with them. We've flown firefighters and police officers and a myriad of different people that have done something, that is a big achievement in each of the communities where this happens.
So how did you get involved with air shows?
Like all good things, it was kind of by accident.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Actually, the first air show I ever did was actually at Kennedy Space Center. It was in November of 2007. It was called World Space Expo. And we started it as a big space outreach event, right? And it ended up becoming the kickoff of all of NASA's 50th anniversary. It kind of spiraled and became this really big event. And so, when you do events, my background is events, all different kinds of events that I've done over the course of my career. And the thing about, and I use car shows because we did auto shows, right? And we used to say, so you bring all these great cars together, everybody that's interested in a car, they come in, but how do you, when you bring all these great cars together, how do you get people that aren't currently in the market and expose them to it? So we took that theory when we did World Space Expo, and because of NASA and everything was going on at that time, we had this amazing display of space. And so we said, okay, so all the people that love space are going to come. How do we use this and get people that maybe aren't as interested in space and bring them in? And they, NASA literally said in this meeting one day, well, what would you do? I said, well, let's get something affiliated, and so we're kicking ideas around. And I said, hey, aren't all your pilots and commanders are from the military? Yeah. Well, let's get the Thunderbirds, and we'll go base them on the shuttle runway, and we'll fly an aerial salute to 50 years in space over the Space Center.
That's awesome.
So you can imagine the immediate
Yeah, that
reaction
went-
to
Oh, right,
that
yeah.
was like, well, you need these 12 people to approve it. And I said, well, give me all their phone numbers, right? And start calling around. Even NASA Safety, NASA Security, they're all like, oh, my God, that's an amazing idea.
Right.
So next thing you know, we do it. We send off the form. 2 days later, the Thunderbirds call me, and the first words out of the scheduling officer's mouth is, "Are you serious?" So that was how I got my start in the airshow business, and we flew a aerial salute to 50 years in space over
That's
the launch
awesome.
pads. And
So how many people does it take to put this on? Because I know you get some volunteers, obviously. You need volunteer help. But really, because it's a major, major undertaking.
yeah, absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about what it is to put on an air show, because a lot of people just think, oh, I'm going to go down the beach, I'm going to look up, and I'm going to see a great show.
Yeah, well, we have a core. There's a core team on the production company that does this year round. There's 4 people full time, right, that do this, and the production team, they also do 5 other shows around the country. So full time doing that. Then you have the next layer of people that are a team that come in close to the show that do things, everything from like an air boss to a security director to a director of PR, right? And you have them, and they kind of circle as the show is coming up. And then that next layer is those volunteers, and they're really key to doing this in every market that we do a show. And there's hundreds of volunteers that are involved. But it keeps going out. You go out, you have sponsors, you have like all the host hotels. We could not do this without hotels like the Beachside Suites that say, hey, you know what, we'll donate rooms and we'll host a team. And right now we have 8 different hotels around Cocoa Beach that are all donating rooms to host the team.
That's
so
awesome.
you have the hotels, right, the TDC, you have the community, you have the city. It's an advocacy. So the biggest part after the volunteers, if I was to take all that together, it is the advocacy of a community that really is what makes an air show successful and possible.
And this communities, they're wanting this event. They need this event.
Yeah.
It's something to bring the people together, brings people outdoors, and it's bringing people from all over to come see it. And I think this is the perfect time to have such a patriotic event like this that unites us. So
Yeah, very much so. And, a beachfront air show is always one of the largest events that you can bring to a community, to bring destination travelers, right, to do something really amazing for the residents. But, what it really turns out is during this pandemic, it is one of, if not the only event that you can bring to the community. And they are that much more significant right now because, they're very uplifting to the local residents.
Oh, for sure.
And they do. People still will travel for a special reason. And people that have that passion, the patriotism for aviation, we did 2 beachfront air shows in 2020, and it brought a huge influx of visitors in to help the ailing tourism economy in all these communities, right? So I think it's something that's really going to be fantastic for the residents here, but it's really, really going to help tourism.
Now, is there events where the local people can meet these celebrities or not?
The pilots, typically there is, but during this time,
Gotcha.
Of course, we're not doing that. But one of the opportunities is, and then this is what is such a big benefit, normally for a host hotel, is the number one thing people want to do is they want to see the jets fly, and the number 2 thing, they want to meet the people that fly the jets, right? Yeah. So we don't have any organized social events like we normally would due to, we're still kind of in the pandemic planning, as far as what we're doing. But, you do have that opportunity to stay at one of these hotels. You can go on CocoBeachAirshow.com, go to the host hotel page, see what hotels are hosting performers. And, they're all walking around in their flight suits and stuff. And,
cool.
you can have a run-in with them,
You
yeah.
can still get a socially distanced selfie
Yes.
or maybe with your mask on, but
There
you
you
can
go.
still get that picture, right?
Yeah,
And so it's become that much more of an opportunity for a host hotel is that's really the only place where you can, meet the pilots right now or run into a pilot.
That sounds like a real
at
big
an
advantage.
air
So
show.
come stay at Beachside Hotel and Suites and see a
Yeah.
pilot, right?
See who you're going to run into.
absolutely.
I
Not
love
only
it.
that, but they got a lazy river.
Isn't that not cool?
Yeah, full disclosure, I'm staying here this week for a couple days.
Good choice.
And yesterday I had 3 hours of conference calls, which I did from the beach here at the
Yes.
Beachside Hotel. And it was a really great background on Zoom. And then after that, I put my computer away and I took a few laps around the
I
lazy
didn't know if you
river.
had your cell phone
Gotcha.
still on Zoom as you're
They were
flying through the
probably
lazy
going,
river.
where are you? What are you doing?
I was thinking about it, but knowing my luck,
Yeah.
I was
That'd be my luck
jumping in
too.
the
I think
water.
we'd all end
I've
up
done
in the
that.
water, but,
I've done that, unfortunately.
I was like, well, let's not do that.
It would make a great moment, if you.
Now, what's really great too about the air show is the guy that does the announcing and talks about what you're seeing and doing, and you also can hear the pilots. If you're close enough to that area where the sound is, which I recommend to anybody to do because it's really, not only do you hear the pilots talking or whatever, but you hear what's going on behind the scenes. And that guy is really, really good.
Yeah, the voice of the Air.show live tour and the Cocoa Beach Air Show, Larry Strain. So he'll be here broadcasting and telling everyone about what they're seeing and has years of experience doing that.
Wow.
He's very, very passionate about it. So he's great to be able to listen to. And something that's really great this year and cool is a new thing we're doing. We were talking about it at the TDC meeting the other day, but is Air.show live stream. So for those who can't be at Show Center, we actually bring Show Center to you, right? And so that narration, we have cameras at Show Center. We have cameras on the aircraft. So you can actually be watching what they're doing at the airport, and then you can see the narrator, and then you can watch the action of what's going on, and you can hear it. And so, if you've got people where you go, hey, I'm coming with my family, but I don't know if I want to be down there where it might be a little too crowded for me, you can pick any place on the beach or your hotel balcony, or if you have a boat, you can go out on your boat, or you can sit in your backyard, and you can get Air.show live stream, and we bring Show Center to you.
That's
pretty
awesome.
That's
you could just
great.
Sit on your phone and hear it and be wherever you want it
2021,
to be.
right?
Yeah.
You gotta love
awesome.
technology. That's
I was just going to
really,
say,
really cool.
technology, isn't it grand?
And then from a tourism standpoint, if you think about it, so all the people around we have a 2 mile wide aerial stage, right? That's 500 feet high. So all those people can get that experience. But better yet, people can virtually attend from around the world. And so the 2 beachfront events where we did live streams in 2020, we had over 50,000 people watching or viewing, and then spending at least a half an hour on there experiencing it. And so not only do we get to share the inspiration of the jets, but we get to share the beauty of the community, and we get to promote the destination, right? So we get to talk about the Space Coast and showcase the Space Coast to that aviation enthusiast and to that audience around the world.
That's great exposure for the businesses, the hotels, the attractions here.
Yeah.
And that's, again, I think it's why they welcome you with open arms. Like, yeah.
And we'll make sure we repeat this several times throughout the show. But this is happening April 17th and 18th. So if you want to get your hotels now in advance before these places, fill up, you do so now.
And is it my understanding that you're planning on doing this show every other year, because the Valiant Air Command is going to do it every other year, so that way you guys don't have 2 at the same time, or how's that working?
Yeah, we've teamed up with the Valiant Air Command and come together to kind of do this and figure out how we can do one major air show a year in Brevard County. And so they have a great cause, right? They've got all the aircraft that they maintain and keep up, and they have all those to showcase, and we can't do that at the beach because a lot of them are not flyable. So, what we worked out is on the odd-numbered years, so 21 and 23, we're going to do the air show here over the beach and showcase at the beach and drive that tourism that brings. And then on the opposite years, they can do one up at Titusville Airport where they can bring that amazing cadre of aircraft that they have. My favorite aircraft they have an F-14 Tomcat.
Right.
The F-14 Tomcat has such a huge following.
We sat right underneath the wing doing this show.
Yeah, did our
underneath
podcast
that.
from there.
Yeah, and they're so cool. And there's so many people that go, even now, it's like, wow, either I wish there was the F-14, or can you get an F-14 demo? It's like, well, they don't have them anymore, unfortunately. But they've got some great aircraft.
They generate a lot of tourism because of that as well, actually.
Yeah.
There's a ton of people that come because, that's one of the few places in the world that you can see what you can see at Valiant Air Command.
Yeah.
But again, we always talk about partnerships and relationships here in our county, and that's a prime example of how you're working with the Valiant Air Command. You guys work together, and then again with the hotels coming out and and also participating. So we always stress that because this is such a great location and it's a great place to be, and everybody works together. So we appreciate that you do that.
Yeah.
You do a great job.
Thanks.
So
Bonnie.
let's talk about some of the other things that are going to happen during the air show, because it's not only the Thunderbirds, which is fantastic, but there are other things going on. Can you tell us about some of the other events that'll be happening in the sky?
Well, yeah. So we'll have a cadre of civilian and military performers. So far we've announced 5 performers, but we're going to have many more. And I would encourage anybody listening to continue to check at CocoBeachAirshow.com because we'll have some really amazing performers coming out that we haven't announced yet, that we're working on getting final confirmation. But just the other day I got 2 that I was so excited
That's
about.
awesome.
I have one that I've never had at an air show in my whole career of doing shows now.
And you can't tell us?
I'm not going to tell
No,
you.
you can't tell us.
Breaking
Exclusive.
news right here.
Exclusive.
Come on.
I'm just going to
news.
say it's a really, really big airplane. So, but
Does it start with a? No.
Does it have a number in the name?
starts with a B. But that's all I'm going to tell you. We've announced the Geico Sky Typers, and they're a really dynamic 6 aircraft World War II vintage act, and one of the really really cool thing is that they're the only ones that do it. They sky type. So, you know, when you think about skywriting, right, where you see one letter at a time, these guys like fly 5 in a row and write whole sentences in the sky that you can see for like miles. And,
wow.
Yeah. So that's really neat. You know, you occasionally see the marriage proposal up there. So it's always like, what are they going to write next? Right. You know, so we know they're going to write Geico. Geico's their sponsor and a great supporter of the Cocoa Beach Air Show this year. But it's always like, what are they going to write next? You know. Then we've got Mike Wiskus, who's one of the most amazing, talented aerobatic pilots in the world, flying the Lucas Oil pits. So he's got a bright red biplane pits, and he'll do some things that'll just blow your mind. If the people that are out on the show center boat, whoever that is, like they get a haircut. Let me tell you what, there's some crazy videos of that. So we've got him. We've got the SOCOM Para Commandos, the Special Operations Parachute Team. Out of Central Command over in Tampa. They're going to be over here. They're going to jump the American flag in. And then we've got local John Black, who actually flies the Super Decathlon. He's based right here at Merritt Island Airport. He's a former F-15 Florida Air Guard pilot.
Cool.
And so he's going to fly. So we have a nice local element in the show. The Valiant Air Command is going to fly their CH-47 Tyco Bell. We actually don't have that announced yet, so there's.
I love that.
Oh, there we go.
Awesome.
Right?
Tyco Bell.
I had to keep something big.
That's it.
I had to keep something big. So they're gonna fly the Tyco Bell, and then they're gonna have a few other aircraft. So we're gonna get to see, I think, 4 different aircraft from the Valiant Air Command, vintage Warbird aircraft.
So are the shows the same on Saturday and Sunday, or a little bit different because you probably can't do everybody on the same day?
They actually, it will largely be the same. Occasionally, we'll get a flyby of a military aircraft that'll come from wherever their base is, and they'll come from and go back. And so, if you have one of those flyovers, there might be an aircraft or two that's only on one day, but largely it's the same. So the great part is that everybody that comes out on Saturday, they're usually so excited
they come back on Sunday
for the encore. We call it the encore on Sunday. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow, that is very
it's a
cool.
great it's a great reason. Like, I would encourage everybody to come stay for the weekend. Come here, get a room, park your car. Right, and you can walk from a lot of the hotels. You can walk to Show Center or just walk to the beach, because we do have a 2-mile wide aerial football field. There's, you can enjoy the air show and really be inside the football field anywhere from Minuteman Causeway at Coconuts the whole way up to Allen Shepard Park where Sandbar is.
Awesome.
And so it's a very, you've got the Courtyard and the Hampton and the Beachside Suites and the Hilton and the International Palms. You've got all these hotels that you could literally just go straight out from the beach from those hotels, and you're there, and you can sit down and watch a show, or you
sit
can
on
watch
the balcony
from the hotel.
Yeah, sit on your balcony.
You'd have a really nice view here from the lazy river here at the Beachside Suites.
So you mentioned Show Center. Where exactly is Show Center? So if somebody wants to buy a ticket and come and be able to hear the thing, where was that?
Show Center is at Laurie Wilson Park. Okay. So we actually do offer some different levels of tickets that people can buy to get we call it premium viewing or VIP. So Drop Zone Beach is our entry level ticket. I think right now they're $21.
Okay.
And there you get the sound. We provide services, restrooms, food, beverage, right? So it's all the conveniences are right there, and you really get to experience it. Like, it adds to the experience, of course, to do that. Then we have our new Stay Safe venue that we innovated last year to be able to do air shows during a pandemic, called Sandboxes. So if you think of like just what you think of as a kid, right, you have your own box. So we mark off just like they do a beach volleyball court, 12 by 15 boxes, and you can reserve your box. Cool. And it's 4 people. You can bring the family out. We provide the beach chairs, so you can leave your beach chairs at home. So you can, stay at the beachside, rent a sandbox, walk down to Laurie Wilson Park, and your chairs are right there waiting for you. Then we've got our Flight Line Club, which is our VIP venue, which we have tents on the beach and catering, really great food, Kreiderman's Barbecue.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone
Yeah.
who's ever had Kreiderman's, right?
Barbecue,
So,
man,
yeah.
that's
So, and you get VIP parking right there, and so lots of conveniences, and that's kind of the VIP experience on the beach.
Where are the planes flying out of? Patrick or Melbourne Airport?
The military aircraft will be at Patrick, and then the civilian performers, some will be out of Merritt Island and some out of Tycho.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we'll be covered. We'll be covered with aircraft all over. What can you say?
Will you be able, for the military, they allow people to go in and watch the ceremony of how the whole ceremony where they line up the pilots and the crews and all that stuff?
So we're no, you can't get onto the base, but what we're working on is to be able to. We know we're going to be able to have a camera on the civilian performers right at Merritt Island or Tycho. We're trying to work with Patrick to see if it's possible to have a camera on Thunderbird Row and be able to watch the walk down virtually on the live stream.
And I have to say, I was there once when they did that. That is amazing. The precision that they have doing it in tandem with each other. I had no idea.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
It's incredible. I have a little bit of a history. When I was stationed in 1966 at McConnell Air Force Base, my barracks mate, Mike Wells, tried out to be on the crew that maintains the aircraft. And what he had to go through to get that appointment was just incredible, and he made it. And Mike, if you're out there listening somewhere, I remember you. You did a heck of a job. But he was telling me and describing a lot of, and one time the Thunderbirds came to our base, and they practiced there, even though they're based in Las Vegas. And watching how the pilots, the precision, even in their walking, their precision.
Yeah, they call it the walk down. That's what they call when they do that routine.
That's cool. Just incredible.
You guys want a little more news?
Yeah.
So not only are we the first show of the year for the Thunderbirds, but they are coming out with a brand new show this year.
Really?
Yeah. So they are totally reinventing the show, and they've got some help in choreographing and in doing it, and they're really trying to add this performance element and update it. And so I've heard some inkling, hear little tidbits here and there, but I mean, they're going to update the walk down. They're going to update some of their, rearranging some of their performance and some of the music and stuff. So it's the engagement level and all the little tidbits I've heard about it. It's really going to be spectacular. And we're actually debuting here on the Space Coast. We're the first time they're going to fly it. So, the live
Another
stream
first.
and the value of the virtual, being able to attend virtually, you think about this, the number of fans the Thunderbirds have nationwide and worldwide, how many people are going to want to see the first time they fly this new show, right? We're going to have it all on Air.show live stream, and it's all going to be here from the Space Coast.
That's great. Thank you for bringing that here, man.
Now, to become a pilot, do you happen to know what they have to go through for what the qualifications are?
Yeah, so they have kind of, in an Air Force pilot's kind of career, they have kind of that progression. And so pilots that try out for the Thunderbirds, you have to have a certain number of hours and be in this certain zone, right? And so typically they are kind of at the tail end of their flight line fighter pilot career. And almost every Thunderbird pilot, after he does his 2 years on the team, goes off to school, right, and then they make their way through the different command levels as a director of operations and eventually a squadron commander. So most of them are in their early 30s, and they're a captain, maybe a major, right, and so it has to do with where they're at in their career path. And how many hours they have and everything else, and then they try out. But you know what? A really big thing, and I got to experience this years ago when I was spending some time with the team at some other air shows, but I actually went, they call it the API trip.
The API trip?
API for applicant, right? So the API, so normally the API trip is in March or April at the beginning of the year. They're bringing in the applicants for the next year, but they take them on the road with them to a show or two and see how they interact with the team, see how they interact with everyone surrounding the air show.
Wow.
And so really interesting story. I was out with them the one night and the Appies, and I was the commander. Most of the officers were there. And so a couple of them were at the table with me, with the commanders, like 2 or 3 of them. And so commander looks at me and he says, because we're like, well, I like this one and I like that one. And commander looks at me and says, who talked to you? And I said, what?
Oh.
And he goes, which ones talked to you?
Oh.
And I was like, well, I said, why? He said, because that's really important. He said, they're all rushing all of us, right? They want to engage with us. They're trying to impress us. Who ignored you and who engaged with you?
Ooh.
And I was like, that was really profound, right? I was
insightful.
like, that was really insightful.
Yeah.
And that literally end up having an influence on, that's how important it is to them that these guys, you think about it, they're representing the whole Air Force.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And so they really, really go to great lengths, and it is a it's a process, right? And they get some just spectacular individuals that, like, I've had the opportunity. It's a privilege to get to know these guys and get to hang out with them and stuff like that, and they are just exceptional.
Are you a pilot?
Men and women.
They're
Are you a
exceptional
pilot?
people.
I've flown on occasion, but I don't have that thing that says I'm a pilot.
Oh,
Okay.
I've taken the
Okay.
stick here or there.
Right now, the command-
but I'm not in the military. Not in the military
right
yet.
now, the
I've not gotten
commander's
to do that yet.
Lieutenant Colonel.
Yeah. His call sign's Brick.
Right. Brick.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Right.
He's actually from Orlando. His family lives here in Orlando. They were at the show. So the number 1 pilot, Brick, and the number 4 pilot, Zane, are both natives of Orlando, Florida. So
Great.
So we'll
yeah.
have some family
Wow.
coming
Probably,
over to the
probably the
beach here.
former McCoy Air Force Base.
Yeah, so we'll definitely get to see the commander. Brick's dad works for Lockheed Martin.
Wow.
So can we, I guess what we really should do is let's give a shout out to the city of Cocoa Beach, because I know that you have to work closely with the city to get permits and things of that nature. So I know that they've probably been very supportive of what you're bringing to the area.
Yeah, and Mayor Ben Malik and the whole commission, when I went to commission, they were so enthusiastic about this. But the mayor and Jim McKnight, the city manager, and the city staff has been, terrific in the process of planning. And so, I give a great shout out to them and really look forward to doing this with them. So we have some great experience and past knowledge from doing the show here for 4 years. And, we're kind of taking that as a footprint and just moving forward with it. And so, yeah, it's going to be it's a great relationship.
Love it.
Yeah, that's exciting. Now, you just did tell us a behind-the-scenes story about, the guy and everything. But do you have any other, like, really cool tidbits? Don't have to say anybody specific. But
Yes, he does.
Yeah, come on. But
He has to.
Occasionally
that's
here
what
or
some
there.
people like to hear about, like, the behind-the-scenes stuff that nobody really knows about, like, what it took to make it happen or anything. But do you have any, like, is there a cool story that is memorable to you that stands out of something that happened?
One of the coolest things that's ever happened to me in my airshow career happened here. We were talking about it before the podcast. So in 2010, which is the last time the Thunderbirds were here, so I did the event at the Space Center in 2007. I did my first air show in Ocean City, Maryland in 2008, right? First Cocoa Beach air show was 2009 when the Space Center, it continued because it was so cool, and they did it in 08, and it got a little big the second year, and that's when we moved it down here to the beach. But in 2010, so you think about it, I was like 3 years into doing air shows, and like all the stars aligned. So we got what was called an Air Force Week. So if you think of Fleet Weeks with the Navy, and they do 6 or 8 of them, the Air Force did like 2. And so they chose, and we really actively tried to get it right, and they chose New York City and Cocoa Beach that year as the Air Force Weeks. And so they tried to do an air show in Coney Island, and the guy that tried to do it didn't work out. So they actually had a Air Force Week in New York without an air show. Well, down here we had our air show, right? And so we had like 4 or 5 4-star generals here, right? I mean, the leadership that showed up here was tremendous. But we took that, and we had all these great assets and all these great aircraft from the military, because obviously the Air Force sent a lot of demos. And then we had the World here, the private residential ship, the World.
Yeah.
And so we had the World in port, and we did an event on the World on Saturday night, and the Army parachute team and the Navy SEAL parachute team, they jumped over the port and they landed on the pool deck.
Wow. Wow.
Which is really, really amazing. But I got to...
Is that something we can try?
And I got to... So Sean Slater shaped a board for me. We made a long board. It's called the Thunderboard. So there are two of them. One's in my office and one's in the Thunderbird museum out at Nellis. And Kelly signed it and Sean shaped it. And we had this party where it was just the officers and Kelly and Sean and a few people. And we had a signing party. So we have all these pictures from the signing party. Kelly showed up, right? We had the Thunderbirds there. It was really neat. But then on Sunday, we sailed the ship out and watched from the pool deck.
Oh, man.
And so there's some great pictures. If you go back, you can find, I've got a few of them, but I have this picture where the Thunderbirds it's from the beach, and there's the world, right? This giant 650 foot, not giant today, but big ship to be sitting 3,000 feet offshore, and the Thunderbirds are flying over top of it.
Awesome.
And it's just really, like, you look at it and you go, that it was just really unique. And I mean, to only be 3 years into doing air shows and have all that come together, here, and I've been here for a decade. I live here, and so it was really special.
Was there a lot of pressure with that too?
Oh, just a little bit. And then on top of it, here's and there's still a CBS News article you can look. NASA actually moved the launch date of the STS-133 shuttle. It was supposed to be on Friday, and they moved it to Monday because of the air show.
So Brian's got some juice, is what you're saying.
Wow.
So here's a great story. So I get this call. I was sitting actually next door. I was sitting at the Shark Pit over there in Cocoa Beach Surf Company, and I get this phone call, and it was a strange 321 number, and this is about 2 months before the show. And I pick it up, and the guy says, "Hey, is this Bryan Lilley from the Cocoa Beach Air Show?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Hey, it's Steve Payne from Launch and Landing up here at NASA. Want to, quote, calling to deconflict the shuttle launch with your air show."
Wow.
Right? And I'm like,
Wow.
oh, I'm like,
You want what?
Right? So he's like, he's going, well, my TFR is this, and I'm like, well, ours is that, and this is, and then if we scrub, and then he goes, if we scrub, we're going to push into Saturday. We're going to mess you up. He goes, I have a meeting with NASA management and tomorrow or whatever, and I'm going to advocate for moving the launch. They usually aren't very flexible, but
I was going to say they are not.
I'm going to try. And I was like, no, we're 10 years later, so I can tell this story. So, and Steve just retired, incidentally. He was at NASA. He was the head of commercial crew until just less than a year ago. He just retired. So he calls me back the following Monday, and he says, "Hey," he said, "there's an announcement going to come out that the launch is being moved till the Monday after." It was like 3 days later, and he said it's going to be, they're going to say because of a payload integration issue, but they're moving it so that we don't mess up the air show, right? I'm just like, like a kid on the, I'm like,
Right.
What?
And he's
That's
like,
probably the only time they've ever done it.
yeah, and I'm like, dude, do you want to come out to the show, or do you want to come meet the pilots? And
Anything
he goes,
you need.
Yeah.
Here, quote, as a former Navy Tomcat pilot, I always loved a good air show.
Wow.
So when we talk about advocacy,
Yeah, that's great, man.
there you go.
How do you not walk around with a very big head? Like,
Yeah.
Oh, it was just, and then on top of it, so we were working. So he worked with NASA, had the shuttle launched on time. So everybody, because they didn't delay it until right before that weekend. So we had the whole shuttle launch crowd here, right? It was, and then it got scrubbed and delayed like 2 months. But we had the whole shuttle launch crowd here, so the town was mobbed.
Yeah.
It was the epitome of air and space weekend. It was the last Air Force commanded shuttle mission in history. STS-133 was Steve Lindsay, and so like they were in quarantine, and the Thunderbird commander was talking to their commander, and NASA had given us permission to when the Thunderbirds departed on Monday. We were going to fly the Thunderbirds within a quarter mile of the pad, and they were going to do a picture. Wow. With the astronauts were going to be in the vehicle with it fueled, right? And they figured out, okay, well, they got to be this far away and this and that, and they literally had choreographed the whole thing. So had the thing gone off, we were going to have the picture of pictures.
I was going to ask you if you thought you made it when you're sitting on the pool deck of the world watching the things go by, but when you get, NASA to change a shuttle.
But you know what? It was like what they did it, and that Steve Payne, as an advocate, I mean, he advocated for it, right? Something this big, that if I was going to take one of those examples of advocacy, that's the kind of thing that makes this special. That's the kind of thing that makes it successful. When people in the community, the whole way up to that, say, you know what, whatever it takes, right? Because these are truly special to the communities that host them. And so it's amazing when they treasure it like that enough to go to that level.
Well, speaking of special people who host, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Michelle Martindale has joined us, as she is our sponsor here at our podcast with the Cocoa Beach Hotel and Suites. Yeah, Beachside. So tell us about your relationship that you're going and what's happening here.
Well, one, I want to say it was a Sunday night, and on Facebook I saw a Cocoa Beach Air Show. But oh no, Bryan! Monday morning, you got an email from me going, "We want to play, we want to be a part."
She was the first one. She just
I believe it.
One. And we have enjoyed and valued what the Cocoa Beach Air Show has done to our community, and also with our hotel. I mean, we're anticipating being full. I mean, we're going to be hosting the performers. I can say Geico is coming and staying with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Geico is staying with us. And just finalized before I came in here is that we're going to be having the Cajun Duck Derby here, which is a fundraiser for his foundation. And that's going to be on the 15th, which is Thursday. And
Can you explain what that is?
Yes.
we're going to be dropping, it's a scholarship for Cajun scholarship. It's for Ryan. I don't remember Ryan's last name.
It's Major
Stephen Del Bagno.
Yeah,
Del
yeah,
Bagno.
Stephen Cajun Del Bagno.
Yes.
So he only got to fly as a Thunderbird once. It was here in Brevard County in 2018. That's the only time he got to fly with the team. His F-16 crashed 10 days later during practice. And so we, our foundation, in conjunction with Florida Tech and the Del Bagno family, we formed the Cajun Scholarship. And so it goes towards future aviators, right? It's made for young aviators to be able to earn their wings. And it's with Florida Tech. And the thing that's very special about it, where we get some amazing applicants, is we allow it to be used not just towards tuition, but towards flight fees. So it's one of the only scholarships that can be used towards flight fees. And so we had our first scholar, Gabriella Farah, and she actually got to work with the Thunderbirds at our show in Orlando, at Orlando Sanford Airport in October. And so we're going to be announcing our second scholar here at the event, and our second scholar is going to have that opportunity to work with the Thunderbirds here in Cocoa Beach. But we, Michelle, when we first talked, she said, we're looking at doing an event, with the Lazy River and doing the fun. I said, hey, let's do it for the Cajun Scholarship. And so, she talked to the owners and to Ed, the general manager, and they all liked the idea. And so we had a meeting here with Florida Tech a couple weeks ago. And I actually called Cajun's parents, and they're actually going to fly out for the show, and they're going to come for the event. But Michelle, you might want to give some details. It's really cool. It's a really cool
It's really
idea.
cool. We're going to be dumping about 300 ducks into the Lazy River, and there's going to be
You might want to say they're not live ducks, right?
Not at this point. Unless we can get a better deal than we're getting on the rubber ducks. No, they're going to be rubber ducks.
Oh, okay.
Red, white, and blue rubber ducks.
Yes.
That would be a good tie-in with the duck dive bar.
Right. But it's going to be the Cajun Duck Derby, and it's going to be rubber ducks they're going to drop in, and they're going to lap through our Lazy River, and we're going to be giving out a first, second, and third prize. We're still, we're still finalizing all that part, but we're going to be rolling out duck sales pretty soon. So you can adopt a duck, and you get a unique number. You don't have to be here to win, but here at the hotel we'll be providing food and beverage, and maybe an opportunity to meet some of the performers.
Great.
Some of the performers will be out.
Great.
Yeah,
It's going to be like from 6 to 8. We're looking at
on Thursday night.
Thursday night,
April 15th.
15th.
Yeah.
April 15th. Yeah.
So I mean, it's
Tax day.
exciting because we had been looking for an event, a charity event that we wanted to do from Beachside. So when we talked with Bryan, it made sense. It made
course.
sense because Innisfree they have a lot of properties up in the Panhandle, and they support other schools.
Yeah.
So doing this as a scholarship was just right in what we want to do. So we're excited about that.
And
So-
for those that don't know Michelle Martindale, she has been one of the biggest supporters of the military in our area for a very
Yes.
long time.
Yes.
I wanted to wait until you got here because Bryan had told a story a little while ago about how he was traveling with the team, and one of the generals asked who had spoken to him and who paid attention to him. Michelle has put on an event here where they brought in attaches,
Right.
to come here before they would be deployed all across the country. And John and I attended that event a couple of years ago. And the thing that I most remember, besides how awesome it was that you treated these people so well, is that all of those people took the time to come to talk to John and I. Like,
Yep.
they didn't know us.
Yep.
And we're the ones that, like, we should be supporting them because they're the heroes that are going to take over our country. But they came to talk to us to find out, like, what we were doing and what, how we were doing tonight. And thank you.
You feel
thanking
very
us.
proud and
Yeah,
very
thanking
thankful.
us for coming. So,
Right.
Yeah.
to Michelle Martindale, thank you for all the support that you do for the military, and certainly for taking on being a host hotel for this event here, because it's
Yeah,
going to
thank
be
you,
awesome.
thank you so much. For
Oh,
being
we
our
love it.
first host hotel.
I mean, we had to bring the paper.
doing
Get over
that.
here. I want to sign it right now.
I think I
It's
came
a-
back here.
And she brought me in and gave me the tour. I was like, they spent $5.8 million.
$5.9 million, yeah.
And I love lazy rivers, so I walk through, and I'm like, and I love Little Beachy, and I'm just, this is amazing. Like, if you want to be in a first class place and totally feel like you're at the beach, and with the outdoor hallways right now, with people a little concerned, I was like, all the hotel chains have been going towards indoor hallways. This is really nice. In my room, you can pull right up, walk in the one door, and then I can walk out the other side. And
It's
go
a
to Lazy
perfect
River.
Go right
Nice.
into the
So
lazy
cool.
river.
Yeah.
He was just explaining that he had a Zoom meeting, and apparently he had that as the background. And
Yeah,
they
the
were
red,
like,
the red chair
Yeah.
there is still sitting from where, because I wanted to have the thatch, roofs and stuff there, and everybody's like, "That's a pretty nice place. You're going to Zoom from there." I'm like, "Yeah. How's the weather up there in Maryland?"
We've had some people that actually commented in the podcast. The view is
Right,
as beautiful
right.
as it
Oh,
is,
it's
but it's a beautiful time when you think about it. It's a beachside air show this year,
Right.
and so you want to stay at a beachside hotel. You got to stay at Beachside Hotel and Suites. And the thing that I love about this hotel is that they give you all the amenities. They give you the chairs. They give you the buggy carts and all the things when you want to go out to the beach. And it's really, you could come here and really spend your whole vacation right here. You have a
again.
beach, you've got food, you got comfort, so it's a great place.
John
Beautiful
and I
time.
talk about it all the time because we have kids. If we want to come to the beach, it takes a half hour or an hour to pack the car to make sure that we have all the stuff. But if you're coming to stay at this hotel, you don't even need to bring any of that. So I'm bringing my bathing suit and a tank top and some
And a
flip-flops.
smile.
Got it, and a smile.
And I'll tell you what, when I was going around the lazy river yesterday, testing it out for the ducks, right? I was
Yeah, there you
I
go,
was
Brian.
like
It's
I was
thorough.
like a big giant duck. So when I was testing, but I'm looking and like the way the lazy river is configured, you can literally look out and you'd be able to see the jets. You could sit in the lazy river here, be watching the Thunderbirds go by, get out of lazy river, come over here, get a beer and get a burger at the bar, right? So
Yeah.
it's
That
almost
should
like
be a VIP ticket.
if I wanted to do a VIP area that would be 10 steps above what a Flightline Club is, I would put in a lazy river and have a thatch roof in a place just like this. This is a remarkable place. It's amazing.
Anytime,
what they've
Brian.
done.
Anytime you want to do it here, you're welcome to.
Yeah, it's an idea for
anytime.
next year for sure.
I can tell you that Michelle was very excited when she got the email about the air show because the new edition of the Space Coast Fun Guide, which is what we produced, the visitor guide for the area, had come out, and I was delivering it that day. And when I came in, I saw her, and she's like, "Did you see the email?" I'm like, "No, I've been driving." Like, what happened? She's like, "The air show's coming to Cocoa Beach. The air show's coming to Cocoa Beach." So it was a huge, exciting moment, that to hear that you were coming here. And if Michelle's excited about an event, it's a great event.
Yeah.
So
And also, you can go to our website, Beachside Hotel, Cocoa Beach, and we have a little place there. It says Cocoa Beach Air Show, and we have a nice special for those that want
Great.
to
yeah,
book
guys,
that
you
weekend
definitely
with
wanna-
us.
Definitely want to book
15%
that
off.
now.
15% off.
Yeah, 15% off.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, you want to book that now because that is going to be filling up and it's going to be a great weekend.
Well,
Yes, it
and the
is.
other cool thing is in their tower, they've got rooms up to 7 floors, right?
6 floors. 6
Six
floors.
floors, but facing the beach. So
Awesome.
Because the ultimate thing, and there are not a lot of hotels here that have direct facing hotel balconies that look at the beach, but you could literally get one of those 6-floor rooms, right? You can log on to the live stream because it's free. You log on to the live stream. You could sit up there on your balcony, have all your stuff, have your family, watch the live stream, listen to it, and then take a break and come down here and go jump in the lazy river. But what a cool experience! Like that, if I was going to do it, and I say, hey, what would I do? That's what I would do, because you get that amazing view from the roof, and you can come down here and get this cool lazy river experience in the bar. If you can't tell, I like lazy river.
Who doesn't love a lazy river?
Well, I want to say, Brian, thank you, because about talking about the 6th story and the 5th story is I have another hotelier that is booked in the entire weekend, so they can see the air show.
Nice.
On the 6th floor.
Well, that's a real
The
compliment.
lazy river is heated. Not that you need it because the weather's beautiful today.
Oh my
but
God.
it is
Yeah.
heated. So
Right.
if you are from another state, like you mentioned Maryland, I have family up there too. So I know that the Ocean City show is always great too. But if you're up north and you want to come down, Lazy River's heated. You can go in right now, today in February.
Well,
Yes, you
shoot,
can.
even if
There's
it wasn't.
people in the Lazy River.
Yeah, there
right now.
are. They're
Yeah,
enjoying
they're already
themselves.
there.
But
I know I'm
Right.
jealous.
most of the people from up north come down, even if it was 50 degrees down here. They said this is nothing compared to
Those
them.
are people from Canada.
Well, I have to say, we've been seeing some guests coming in, and they're from Utah
Yep.
and California and Washington and Oregon. I'm like, oh, wow. So we've had enough.
Yeah.
We had enough of the snow. Indiana, we've had enough. They brought their families. I mean, we're talking about families traveling. Going, we just got to come. They'd stay one night, and they ended up. We had one that ended up staying a week. Changed their airlines. We're going to stay more. We're going to stay longer.
That's nice.
We have seen such an increase. We mail our visitor guides all over the country, and people request them before they come down here
Right.
because they're planning the trip. They know they're coming to Cocoa Beach. They know they're coming to the Space Coast, and they find us online. And we have seen such an increase as of recent of people that are, like you said, they've had enough and they're coming down. And so we've been having to quite the postage as of lately.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a good thing because that means people are coming to the Space Coast.
We've had a bunch of them coming from Nova Scotia.
Oh,
So
man.
if you get any of them,
They just didn't want to stay in their igloo anymore.
No, that's it. That's it, man.
I actually, that's great. I heard a story yesterday. A guy, this is how much people want to come to the Space Coast. So one of my people that works here ran into somebody, I think it was at a store or something, and they had their RV, right? Started talking to them. So it turns out they're from Canada. So they were from Canada, and they had their RV, and it's like, well, how did you get your RV down here from Canada? The border's closed. They said, oh, we got a trucking company to ship it across the border.
That's hardcore.
Wow.
And then they flew across the border and then picked up their RV and drove it down here to Cocoa Beach, right? And I was like, that
dedication.
is resourceful.
Yeah.
And so he said, so how are you going to get it back? They're like, well, if we go back,
That's it.
we'll just take it and put it on the truck and have them like
If we go back.
ship it,
Right.
right? Yeah,
You
if
know
we
how that
go
works.
back, right? Yeah.
Sand in the shoes, they're here, right?
Yeah.
Once you
So
get it.
let's talk about you as when you're not working. What you like about the Space Coast, and what do you like to do in your spare time while you're here?
Well, I love the beach, right? I've always been. I always say in doing air shows, it was I grew up and my toys grew up with me. So the Space Center.
I like that.
Yeah, the Space Center. I love space. I love rockets. I love seeing what goes on. And I'm the one that I'll watch the little SpaceX thing, and then I'll go out to the beach 5 minutes later and go watch it launch. It's really amazing to see that, and seeing rocket launches, seeing landings. There's just nothing like getting to do that from the beach here.
yeah.
So it's
We
just
never
a
tire of
wonderful,
that.
wonderful community. And then a couple days later, you can go up to Fish Lips and have lunch and watch the rocket come in on the barge.
How cool
That
is
is
that?
so cool. It sits
It
there
is.
for a couple of days after it gets back too. So there's multiple chances for you to go over and take a picture with that.
Yeah, I've had a couple people come into town over the last few weeks. One of my new guy that joined our team, he's from Orlando, and he was over here, and we went to dinner up there, and we're driving away, and I called him on the phone, and I said, hey, look to the right. And he's like, what? I said, see the rocket? And he goes, oh my gosh, right? How cool is that?
That's become the new cruise ship right there.
Right.
I mean, people are just like, okay, I got to come see that because that's not something you see every day, and it's really neat.
We're in the port quite a bit.
Yep.
And still, if you see it, you have to pull off into that little area right there and just stare for a second. because
Fish Lips
it
is great, and you can see from Rusty's. They got a
Rusty's right
big
across
deck
the
so while they're out there, and just all the restaurants out there. It's quite the attraction for the port. Pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool.
We talked about charities a second ago and the things that you do for this scholarship, but I want to know, I see your shirt there, the National Air, Sea, and Space Foundation.
Yes.
Like, what exactly is that, and what do you do?
So we started the foundation. It's locally based here in Brevard County. We started it in 2010 when we had Air Force Week, the Air Force did a giant educational outreach program, and we started the 501c3 to partner and be able to be the private side, right, to work with the public. And then we went on to, in addition to doing the air shows, we hosted the 500th anniversary of Florida festivities in 2013, where we brought in the Juan Sebastian de Elcano tall ship with the Spanish Navy.
I remember that. Yeah.
The galleon, the 16th century
That
tall
was
ship.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we brought the ships in for the tall ship event for the 500th. We've done a program ever since 2010 with the Air Force. The Air Force really kind of brought us together with Brevard Schools and their CTE program, a technical education program. So we continued that every year through 2019 with Brevard Schools and did an Airspace Career Day. We did some things with the aviation department of Florida Tech in the later years in 2018 and 19. So it's really about education, and it's about educating people and the opportunities, especially future aviators and future space and
That's
engineers in space and air and sea too. And we have airspace and sea here, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So one of the only places where you have space too with it. You know?
Yeah.
So you're the one that came up with the whole idea for that, correct? That's your baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As chairman.
Yes.
Yes.
Chairman. Yes. Yeah.
Well, people always say, when they come to this area, that it's about the people and the
Yeah.
people that do things and why people do it. So obviously, you have a big heart, and doing that is an awesome thing. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing the air show. We appreciate it very much. And I want to thank you because, over the years, I've been invited to certain events that you put on, and I was there at the World when that wonderful spectacular happened. So I want to thank you very much for all that you bring to the Space Coast as well.
Yeah, thank you, Bonnie.
So now,
love it. Love being here, and love being able to do amazing things and bring.
we'll have to bring you back.
Yeah.
After the show, because I'm sure you'll have some inside stories to let us know.
Yeah, maybe we'll
Right?
have a good
You might have to
story.
wait till the tour is over.
We'll have to wait another 10 years to tell those.
Well, that's true. Yeah, there might be some of that as well.
NDAs.
So now next week we're going to be on location at the Orlando Melbourne International Airport. Going to talk about
Rob Himmler, right? We'll talk to him.
Rob Himmler. We're going to talk with him, and we're going to also talk to the Assistant Director of Business Development, Melissa Naughton, just talking about the aircraft that comes in, who they and where they're going direct from here. It's a beautiful airport, and we're going to hear about all the new.
They've been named one of the best scenic,
Yes.
airports coming in, so that they're getting
The
national
best.
recognition now. And if you are coming to the Space Coast, it's very convenient. You don't have to fly into Orlando and deal with all so many people. You can come to Melbourne in and out really quickly.
Very
And
quick.
It's such a beautiful airport there.
It is. So we're looking forward to that. So, anybody got anything special going on this weekend?
Well, I was going to tell you, when you're
Yes.
down there, stop by Apex Aviation and ask Jamie. They're a great FBO down there at the airfield. And the actually memorial for the Cajun, that's
Yeah.
where his jet was parked. We memorialized the nose wheel of his F-16.
Oh, okay.
And so it's really cool. But if you down on the ramp, if you get a chance to check it out, it's very special. His whole family has been here at one point or another to see it. So.
It's good to know. Good to
Very
know.
awesome. Well, it is Valentine's Day this weekend, so to all you ladies, happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you.
My wife out there, happy Valentine's Day to you too, babe. I love it.
And I think we're going to have some special Valentine drinks coming up, and you're going to ask me. I
Oh,
think we
yeah.
got, romance bubbly and pink martinis. So,
Well, I can tell
and we
you
have
that
romance stuff.
Any
Lots
drink
of,
that you have here at the Duck Dive Bar is very good. For some reason, they're colder here than anywhere else. So
Thank
you need
you,
to come
thank
here and
you.
make sure you check out
All
the
we'd
Duck
have to
Dive
do
Bar.
is add a smoke heart in the sky like we do at the air show.
There you go.
Can we arrange
Okay. Be very nice.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate. Anybody else got anything happening? Just happy Valentine's
Happy
Day,
Valentine's
guys.
Day.
Yeah,
You know?
and again,
Be sweet.
thank you so much, Brian. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we're
Thanks,
looking
Bonnie.
forward to that. So the Cocoa Beach Air Show, April 17th and 18th. You can stay right here at the Beachside Hotel and Suites. Log on to their website right now. Save your room. They're going to fill up, so you want to get it now.
Got it.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, guys, we will see
See you next week.
CocoBeachAirshow.com. All right.
Right.
Very good.
All right, everybody, thank you for listening to the 321 Liftoff podcast. I'm Promo Pete, and thank you again, Bonnie King. We had a great episode. Be sure to check us out every week And if you want more information, visit spacecoastfunguide.com or beldencommunications.com for everything that we're doing in the area. You can also check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/spacecoastfunguide for all the entertaining things to do in our area. We look forward to seeing you again next week. Until then, take care.